The most dangerous person isn't the one who speaks the loudest. It's the one who doesn't need to speak at all. There are people who walk into a room and shift the entire atmosphere, not because of how they look, not because of their status, but because they are silent. They don't boast about how skilled they are. They don't react when attacked. They don't rush to speak when others finish. And because of that, every eye begins to grow cautious. Bruce Lee once said, "Control your mind, or it will control you." He wasn't just a martial artist. He was someone who understood the greatest strength is the kind that doesn't need to be performed. If you think the strongest person is the one who talks the most, you might be stepping into a battle without truly understanding your opponent. The power of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is a form of absolute control. When others lose their composure, the silent one holds the power to choose the moment. When others rush to react, the silent one is watching and waiting. Bruce Lee didn't teach people how to shout. He taught them how to steady a mind that's on fire. If you get angry at someone, they are controlling you. That wasn't just advice. It was a warning. Because in combat, the one led by anger is the first to fall into a trap. Silence doesn't mean we feel nothing. It means we don't let emotions dictate our actions. When you are silent in the middle of a loud crowd, you are not the outsider. You are the one controlling your heartbeat, while others let the world control theirs. Bruce Lee called it a superpower. The superpower of an ordinary person who refuses to let anyone pull the strings inside their mind. Not everyone is strong enough to be silent, because silence requires something few ever master: willpower. The will to not respond, not explain, not prove, not react. And in an age where everyone is rushing to prove themselves, the silent ones become a force no one can read. They are the iceberg. Only a small part is visible, but the most dangerous part lies deep beneath the surface. Silent discipline. No one saw Bruce Lee waking up at 4 a.m. No one filmed him practicing a single punch 1,000 times. We only saw him in the ring, when every move looked flawless. But that perfection didn't come from luck. It came from what he called discipline in silence. Discipline makes today hard, but makes tomorrow easy. You only fail when you stop trying. When you're focused on becoming better, you no longer have time to show off. No need to post pictures. No need to share the journey. Just do. Repeat, and do it again. True strength isn't in the applause. It lives in the days no one sees you training. Bruce Lee didn't wait for an audience to start practicing. He trained because he couldn't not train, and that's what separates the truly committed from those just seeking validation. The world says you need motivation to start. Bruce Lee would laugh. He didn't believe in inspiration. He believed in repetition even when bored, even when tired. You don't need discipline when everything is easy. You need it most on the days no one's watching, the days you want to quit, the mornings you can't find a reason. Because it's the quiet moments when you keep going that shape you into the kind of person your opponent can never predict. Build in silence so no one knows where to hit you. Bruce Lee didn't flaunt success. He showcased silent persistence. And that's exactly what made him dangerous. Knowing who you are. You've been silent. You've trained in the dark. But eventually, you'll have to answer a question no one can avoid. Who am I when no one is watching? Bruce Lee didn't start by asking others. He started by asking himself. When you speak, you're only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, You might learn something new. And sometimes, the person you most need to listen to is yourself. But that voice is quiet. You have to be still long enough to hear it. Bruce Lee never called himself a master because he believed the truly wise always remain a student. A wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. It stings, but it's true. Those who think they already know stop learning. Those who admit they're not enough begin to change. And that's where true strength begins. When you're empty. Empty to receive. Empty to break old patterns. Empty to learn again from the start. I don't teach you anything. I only help you discover yourself. Bruce Lee didn't want to be your master. He wanted you to become the only one who can truly teach you. You. And you? Are you still learning? Or just talking too much to hide what you don't yet understand? Be silent. Practice. And look inward. Leaving the crowd. Not everyone who leaves the crowd is lost. Some choose to stand outside because inside it's too loud. Bruce Lee once said, "It is better to be alone than in bad company." He understood something many take a lifetime to learn. Being among the wrong crowd doesn't make you any more right. We live in an age where belonging has become an obsession. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be validated. But the price we pay is ourselves. Have you ever agreed just to avoid conflict, even when you didn't truly believe? Have you ever shared something personal just because everyone else was doing it? Bruce Lee chose to step away from the noise so he could hear himself. He didn't hate the crowd. He simply knew, among thousands of voices, you can no longer hear your own. And when you stop hearing yourself, you start echoing others, living by the rhythm of the crowd, losing your identity without even noticing. But leaving the crowd doesn't mean being alone. It means you're creating a space where you don't have to play a role. You don't have to impress. You don't have to be on time. You don't have to make perfect sense. You just have to be real. If you spend too much time thinking, you'll never get anything done. And if you spend too much time asking the crowd how to live, you'll never live for yourself. Silence is a weapon. Discipline is the foundation. Self-awareness is the mirror. And leaving the crowd is the doorway into a life that's truly yours. A life not programmed by anyone else. The quiet warrior. You don't need to fight to be a warrior. You don't need to win to be strong. Bruce Lee understood that. He wasn't trying to defeat every opponent, every match. He only needed to conquer one thing himself, every single day. Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. It sounds simple, but how many truly have the courage to live that way? In silence. You don't need the approval of others, because those who are truly silent don't need the spotlight. They need inner strength. When you're strong enough not to react, you become unpredictable. And when you're unpredictable, you become dangerous. Not because you threaten anyone, but because no one can control you anymore. Bruce Lee didn't leave behind a manual. He left behind a question. Do you have the courage to live quietly, but deeply? Silence, discipline, self-awareness, and stepping away from the crowd. These aren't just 4 strategies. They are 4 invisible layers of armor, worn by a warrior who doesn't need to fight, but is always ready. When you are silent, no one knows where to strike you. Live like that. Hard to read, hard to reach, hard to shake. If you're walking the path of becoming a quiet warrior, and stay here, in a place where words are chosen carefully and silence is respected, hit subscribe, because true strength doesn't need to be loud.